This question actually came from a comment on one of the previous videos that we put out around what is karma, and a very good question. Thank you for that question in the comments. Again, if you have questions that you would like me to cover on this channel, please send them to me. You can email me or put them in the comments, and we'll try to get them into our list. It was really around this concept of what is good or bad, and what are the karmic results because of that. We use these terms sometimes just to make things easier when we're speaking. Things that are good and things that are bad is really relative to the situation. Something that you may think is good action, somebody else may not think is good action. Something that you think is bad action, somebody may not consider that bad action. So it's really good or bad doesn't really play into it. Again, we use some of these terms just sometimes to make it easier for people for clarity. The real definition of this maybe is closer to say harm or not harm, harmful or unharmful. Things that we're trying to do that cause no harm to ourselves or to others. And then what is the karmic result because of that? So if you've watched the video that I put in What is Karma, then you may remember that karma isn't really driven by the god of karma who's watching every move. It's not a universal vengeance system. It's really about intent, and where does intent come from? So if we get away with or eliminate the words good or bad, good intent or bad intent, and maybe focus instead on something around the ideas of, is my intent to do harm, or is my intent to do no harm? No harm to myself, no harm to others. A little bit harder sometimes to focus, especially if you're just getting started, to try to understand what is harm, what is not harm in each situation. But we're really trying to go through our lives being better at not putting harmful things into the environment or into the world around us. I've often described this as putting ripples out into the world around you. If we are coming from a standpoint of compassion intent, our best chance is to do no harm and to try to help other people. Come at it from a standpoint of connectivity and compassion. If we have that intent, that's really the best that we can do. It doesn't always go great. It doesn't always go the way we want it to go. Sometimes we think that we're trying to help somebody and they don't want our help, or maybe we're making things worse, or even sometimes with the best intent, sometimes things go awry. You can't always guarantee, or should you be attached to what the outcome is going to be. It's really, again, from an intent standpoint, if we can live in the world of compassion intent, of non-harmful intent, more often than not, we will be putting decent things into the world, good ripples into the world, or better ripples into the world, trying to get away from using this word good. Less harm, more help, more compassion. So the result, when we talk about karmic result, it's really best intent is what creates an action. Harm intent creates a harmful result. Unharmful intent creates an unharmful result most of the time. You can only do what you can, do your very, very best at having good intent and letting that go out in the world, watching what comes back to you. Sometimes we just do things as the nature of driving around in this world, walking around, bumping into things and people all the time. You could have the best intent in the world to do no harm to anything around you and accidentally hit a squirrel, which we have all over Michigan here with our cars, or a rabbit, which is also very common here. You could step on a bug. You could accidentally harm somebody without trying. It's the nature and the condition of the society that we live in. So again, always being aware and always being present of that moment helps us to not have those things happen. But when it does happen, there's nothing you can really do about it. You can be grateful for the opportunity to live day by day, step by step, and do your best with your intent and have unharmful intent going forward. And whatever the result is, don't attach too much to it, just do your best. That's ultimately all we can really hope for. So again, thank you for that question. I know the deeper we dive into some of the semantics of some of this language, sometimes I think it can make it a little bit harder day by day. But maybe if you're farther along in your practice, switching from this idea of good or bad intent to the idea of, am I doing harm to myself and others, or am I not doing harm to myself and others, at that point of arising may be an interesting challenge for you. Thank you.